Hello and welcome to my Top Watch channel. Today we will list the top 10 series of all time. Content we've prepared a list that you should watch right now. Also, don't forget to leave a comment on how many of these series you've seen from this list. Now let's start though. Number 10. Money Heist. Set in Madrid, a mysterious man known as the Professor recruits a group of 8 people, who choose city names as their aliases, to carry out an ambitious plan that involves entering the Royal Mint of Spain, and escaping with EU 984 million. After taking 67 people hostage inside the mint, the team plans to remain inside for 11 days to print the money as they deal with elite police forces. In the events following the initial heist, the group's members are forced out of hiding and prepare for a second heist, with some additional members, this time aiming to escape with gold from the Bank of Spain, as they again deal with hostages and police forces. Number 9. Dexter. It is an American drama television series. Set in Miami, the series centers on Dexter Morgan, a forensic technician who specializes in analyzing bloodstain patterns for the fictional Miami Metro Police Department, who lives a secret parallel life as a vigilante serial killer, hunting down killers who have not been appropriately punished by before the justice system due to corruption or legal technical aspects. Dexter says he is incapable of feeling any emotion, except when he satisfies the fatal urges. Harry taught his adoptive father to direct his murderous impulses. Although his thirst for murder weighs on him, Dexter has been able to live a relatively normal life and keep up with appearances with his sister Deborah Morgan and his pals, friends and girlfriend Rita Bennett. Number 8. Narcos. Narcos is an American television series created by Chris Brancato, Carlo Bernard, and Doug Miro, directed by Jose Padilla and released on August 28, 2015 on Netflix. Set in Colombia, it features the search for Pablo Escobar and the entire Medellin cartel by the DEA and especially the agents, the main characters Javier Pena and Steve Murphy. In the late 1970s, the United States and Colombia embarked on a bitter battle against the Medellin drug cartel. Young DEA agent Steve Murphy and Javier Pena do his best to bring down Pablo Escobar and his men, despite the massive police corruption that plagues Colombia. This struggle is intertwined with the United States' struggle against communism and with many other political interests. Number 7. Prison Break. This soap opera depicts the misadventures of 2 brothers confronted with the prison world. The plot revolves around the different prisons in which they themselves or some of their relatives will be incarcerated, as well as their successive escape attempts. Lincoln Burrows, a petty hoodlum, is wrongly accused of killing the brother of the Vice President of the United States. Sentenced to death, he is incarcerated in Fox River State Penitentiary, awaiting execution. His brother, Michael Schofield, a gifted engineer convinced of his innocence, will help him escape before the fateful date. For this, Michael gets the plans of the prison tattooed on his chest, arms and back, then he commits a robbery in order to be imprisoned there in turn. Once imprisoned in Fox River, Michael will try to escape with his brother, using the plans that he had tattooed on his body. After their escape, Michael and Lincoln are wanted not only by the police, but also by agents of the cartel, a secret organization behind the conspiracy that landed Lincoln on death row. Their run leads them to Panama, where Michael is arrested by the local police and incarcerated in the Sona Penitentiary, in which the detainees have been on their own since a riot broke out there. Later, he was incarcerated in the prison of Ojibia, in Yemen, while the civil war raged in the surroundings. In both cases, Lincoln, who remained outside, will help Michael to escape, with the support of several of their friends or allies of circumstances previously met at Fox River or during their escape. Number 6. Better Call Saul. James McGill is a former con man who became a lawyer under the influence of his brother Charles McGill. Faced with the difficulties of starting his career as a lawyer, Jimmy decides to resort to methods similar to those he used during his hateful past, particularly those that earned him the nickname Jimmy Trexter and Quad. It will only exacerbate his personal conflict with Chuck and escalate him to the point of no return. They will also lead him to associate with the criminal world, in particular the world of drug trafficking, including in particular other characters present or mentioned in the Breaking Bad series, Mike Ehrmantraut, Jonathan Banks, Nacho Varga, Michael Mondo. Number 5. Breaking Bad. This series revolves around the character of Walter White, a low-paid teacher, who suffers from frustration, especially after he is diagnosed with lung cancer in the 3rd stage. Because of these circumstances surrounding Walter, he decides to turn to a life of crime, along with one of his former students, Jesse Pinkman, who works on the production and distribution of crystallized methamphetamine, as a type of drug, and Walter and his student enter the world of crime. Walter and Jesse start making only small batches of the drug, and soon they expand production, as they manufacture large batches, creating huge demand for the substance they manufacture. Walter takes the name Heisenberg to conceal his identity from many, and because of his drug-related activities, Walter finds himself at odds with many people including his family, the DEA and local gangs, and their regional distributors. Number 4. The Sopranos. Tony Soprano, a gangster living in New Jersey, suffers from panic attacks and must secretly see a psychiatrist, Dr. Jennifer Melfi. Tony encounters problems with his family. He is in conflict with his wife Carmela, his 2 children, Meadow and Anthony Jr., his mother Livia and his uncle Junior and Quad. He has to deal with succession issues within the mafia, personal vendettas, and is subject to the constant fear of spies. Number 3. Dark. This series revolves around 4 basic families. All of these families are linked together in a complex family history. Due to time travel, however, its subject may become more complex. The events begin with Mikkel's disappearance on November 4, 2019, when the latter, at the age of 11, accompanies his 2 older brothers, Magnus and Martha, as well as their friends Jannik Canwald, Bartosz Tiedman, and Franziska Doppler. They all go out to the caves in the Wenden forests in Germany. There, a strange terrifying sound occurs, everyone flees from the place, and Mikkel disappears. Later, it is known that the latter has gone back in time, to the year 1986 AD, their NS Canwald adopts him, and gives him the name Michael. He becomes the latter is friends with Hannah, and later marries her, later having children, Jonas. In the year 2019, Michael, formerly Mikkel, is 43 years old, hangs himself, and leaves a suicide note, after recommending that it not be opened before a certain date, which is precisely the date of Michael's disappearance. Besides. Number 2. Chernobyl. Chernobyl is a 2019 historical drama television miniseries that revolves around the Chernobyl disaster of 1986 and the cleanup efforts that followed. Chernobyl dramatizes the story of the April 1986 nuclear plant disaster which occurred in the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, Soviet Union, telling the stories of the people who were involved in the disaster and those who responded to it. The series depicts some of the lesser-known stories of the disaster, including the efforts of the firefighters who were the first responders on the scene, volunteers, and teams of miners who dug a critical tunnel under Reactor 4. Number 1. Game of Thrones. The series story, set on the fictional continents of Westeros and Essos at the end of a decade-long summer, interweaves 3 major storylines. The first plot tells the story of Jon Snow and the growing future threat of the approaching winter, mythical and legendary creatures from the north of the Wall of Westeros that separates the realm of the 7 kingdoms from the threat beyond. The second plot relates Daenerys Targaryen, south of Essos, the last exiled representative of the fallen dynasty, to reclaim the Iron Throne, symbol of absolute power. The third plot tells the story of members of several noble families, in a civil war to conquer the Iron Throne of the Kingdom of the 7 Kingdoms. Through these morally ambiguous characters, the series explores topics related to political power, climate change, social hierarchy, religion, civil war, sexuality and violence in general. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. Can do subscribe our channel to see more videos related to series and movie suggestions.